The greatest flaw of this generation is that we don't let our brains think. Think of what our ancestors did when they were bored. Imagine a guy 300 years ago, your great 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 grandfather. What was he doing on a day to day basis? He was waking up, going to his job, his work. Then he would get back home, and he wouldn't fucking scroll on TikTok. He wouldn't play some video games. He wouldn't overstimulate his mind. He would spend time with his family, maybe work some more, and just be bored, sit. He didn't have a TV, maybe like 200, let's say 1,000 years ago. They didn't have TVs, they didn't have smartphones, they didn't have even maybe newspapers. All he did was either be bored, spend time with his family, work, maybe read, but that's it. He didn't have TikTok to overstimulate his mind with. He didn't have Instagram, Snapchat to send photos to his friends. Look, bro, I'm just cooking this meal. All he did was think. Think of think of the most important people in the world, like Albert Einstein, fucking Thomas Edison. I don't know these like these guys, like the most famous names. But imagine the guys that had a huge impact on the world. You can just imagine them, right? Do you think that they would have been able to have the same impact while being on TikTok every single day, while playing video games every single day? They managed to discover these things, create these things by thinking, by letting their brain think. Like, I saw this video on YouTube recently. You know the guy that discovered gravity, right? I can't remember his name right now. Like, I know it, but I can't remember it. He managed to discover gravity that revolutionized the whole planet by not like by thinking. Like you know his story. Like he was randomly sitting under the tree, just being bored. Like he was literally sitting under the tree, being bored, thinking. When his that apple fell on his head, then he picked up the apple and he just thought, why? Why did it fall? And he just started thinking. He let his brain think, elaborate on this idea. His mind came up with the idea, why did the apple fall on my head? And he just elaborated it by thinking. Imagine if he had a smartphone back then. Imagine if he was sitting under the tree scrolling on TikTok. The apple would have fallen on his head while still scrolling, and he either wouldn't have cared, like he would continue scrolling, or he would just be pissed off at the apple that it hit him, and he would maybe change the position. He wouldn't have discovered the gravity by doing that. So I was meditating a few days ago, and as I was meditating, I was getting not very important, like I was getting video ideas and ideas about my business, about my life, things to do in my life. And I was pissed off because these were important tasks. This could have been good video ideas, like really good video ideas. But I wanted to meditate. I didn't want to get the good ideas while meditating. But my brain had them. My brain knew about them. But because I was either reading, I was spending time with my family, I was watching YouTube videos, I was working, I was doing all these things, I didn't let my brain think and give me the ideas. So the whole day, I was just mindlessly doing my thing. But when I gave my brain some room, some area to breathe, that's when it spit all the information that it had in its brain. It had stored up there. The video ideas, the ideas to work on my business, these random small things that I didn't know about. It gave these things to me while I was meditating, while I let it think in a sense, while I gave it some fresh air, because I didn't even listen to my brain while working on my business, while being in school, while reading, while learning. I didn't focus on my brain. I was focusing on the external world. But as soon as I started focusing on myself when meditating, that's when I let it do its thing. So, but imagine, no, I I'm trying to get into the habit of thinking, of being bored. The literally act of being bored, and I've been struggling with it, but I did it for a while now. Bro, the first time I did it was the first time in my life when I let my brain think. Of course, since I was a kid, like when I was a kid, I still did it. But the first time I did it was the first time I let my brain think after years, bro, years. And the way I saw, like the way this thinking works, is usually the first 15 minutes or 20 minutes, your brain comes up with the ideas that it always wanted to think. But the biggest struggle comes after the half an hour mark, usually, because that's when you run out of the ideas of the usual day to day tasks. So your brain isn't stimulated anymore. That's when the big struggle comes. You just have to be bored, like literally be bored in the literal sense. Not think of anything, not do anything, just be bored. The first time I did this practice, I was able to be entertained for the whole hour. I didn't let my brain think for 8 years straight. And I was able to be entertained by my own thoughts for the whole hour that I put the timer. Right now, I haven't done it in, like, I haven't. Hmm. The first time I tried it after a year, I was entertained for the first half an hour. Then the next, like, the first 45 minutes were all right, but the biggest struggle came in the last 15 minutes when I wanted to quit. Imagine being entertained for a whole hour just by your thoughts. If you can try this exercise right now, like right after this video, try to put a timer for an hour and just let your brain think. Just sit down and do nothing else but think. Don't meditate. Don't do anything with your hands. Don't play. Literally sit down, either on a chair or on the ground. I found that being on the ground works the best. Sit down on the ground and do nothing. Look at the ceiling or look at the wall and do nothing. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. I was meditating and I was getting these ideas. But as soon as I tried doing one of these 1 hour exercises of being bored, the whole week I was able to meditate 5 times easier. I was, because how do I say this? The main ideas that had to be thought of, that I had to think about, like the video ideas, the things to do in a day, the business ideas, were thought of while being bored, and they were sorted out after being bored. So when I was meditating, yeah, I was still deep in thought. I still had memories from childhood or other things to think about, but they weren't that important. They didn't require me to stop the meditation session to do something right there and then because I would usually forget about it, or to write down a video idea. It wasn't, what's the word, bro? It wasn't weird for me to stop the meditation session because I would get a cool video idea, like while meditating. I've been meditating for 26 days, like for almost a month now, every single day. And for most of the days, I would get video ideas while meditating because I would never let my brain think. But as soon as I would do 1 hour of this session of this thinking session, I wouldn't get those video ideas while meditating because I was thinking in that session and I didn't have to think of the main things while meditating. But it meant like I'm in a really good position. I'm able to do this. But I'm just thinking about all the other people that are just on TikTok 12 hours a day, like I used to be. They can't eat without watching YouTube. They have to be in class looking down on Instagram reels and messaging people and looking at stories on the fucking explore page. They have to send a Snapchat for the streak every 5 hours to show how cool their life is. But the worst of them all, they don't let their brain think. They never sit down to think. I can imagine what goes on in their head 24/7. Their mind is like a speaker that's on full volume, full blast, going non-stop 24/7. Their mind is so sick of not being able to think because your mind wants to think. Your mind is not so like it's not able to think. So while you're trying to focus on the teacher in school, or while you're trying to focus on the boss while he's talking to you, your brain wants to think. Your brain wants to sip in all the ideas it has. So you lose focus. You lose focus on the thing that matters. You're trying to spend quality time with your girlfriend, but no, your mind wants to think about the business or the video game. Or what did your friend message you on Instagram, bro? You should check it right now while you're with her. No, don't worry about her. Just focus on the thing right now. Their girlfriend starts getting anxious. Their friends don't want to speak with them anymore because they're always on their phone. It's a hard life for people that don't think. But you are lucky. You are lucky that you're watching these types of videos. When I was little, bro, to be honest, I didn't even know the concept of being bored. I thought that when you were bored, so when you were in line waiting for something, what's other examples? When you were waiting for the train or the airplane to come, I thought it was normal to just be on my phone and scroll. If I didn't have Wi-Fi, to just go through the settings, through the gallery, instead of actually being bored. I thought boredom is a thing to run away from. But this is the thing that will set us apart. Actually being bored, actually not doing anything. And I'm not saying not doing anything in the unproductive sense. This is one of the most productive things you can do for your health, for your brain. Because your brain wants to think, bro. Your brain really wants to think. But if you overstimulate yourself, if you do literally anything else but think, you will suffer great consequences. You will have poor mental health, and your brain will have ideas for you, and they will sip in at the worst time possible. At the times when you really wanted to not let it sink in. So I will tell you some practical steps so you don't feel clueless about this. The next time you have some free time, you could do it for half an hour, but the most benefits come from 1 hour of doing it. Set a timer for 1 hour. Get into your room, close the door, close the window, turn on the timer, close the phone, put it farther away, and just sit and think. You could also do this with a pen and a paper to kind of journal, but I found that I didn't even try that, to be honest. But doing it without anything is also beneficial. If you don't want to go the extra step, the extra mile. So turn off everything and just let your brain think. You will see that you will get so many memories, so many ideas, so many random things that you didn't even know about. Like most of my video ideas, even this one, most of my video ideas came while I was bored and thinking, while I let my brain think. Because I would just think about random stuff, think about my life, and I would think of a story that could be relevant to my YouTube channel. And I would instantly think of a title and some tips for you. And I would just make a video on the spot right there. Essentially, I would just get the script for it, not make it. And every single thinking session, I would get 3 or 4 video ideas, either about the thinking session itself, or about my life, or something relevant that could help you. But imagine if instead of doing that, I would read, or I would spend productive time on YouTube, even though it's cope, to just watch more YouTube videos about self-improvement and not take action. Do you think I would have been able to get those video ideas, to think of those memories, to get those thoughts, those important thoughts, while being on YouTube, while numbing my brain with this overstimulation? Nope. I would have lost them easily. But because I'm training to be bored, I'm doing 2 things. I'm strengthening my brain. I'm getting these video ideas. I'm getting all these things. And I'm also making it easier for myself to do anything. Because once you try being bored, you will realize how much you will hate it, which is a good thing. Because when you get bored, you know how bad it could get. You tell your brain, oh, this is the worst it could get. Your brain doesn't really want you to do it. This is the thing. Your brain wants the stimulation, but it's beneficial for you. It wants to think, but it also wants the stimulation. So by doing this, you train your brain, you tell it, I can also be bored. I can also do nothing. And doing anything is better than nothing. Imagine you have to go on a flight, a 12-hour flight. What do you bring with yourself? A book, a phone, a laptop, a tablet. These are the things that people are bringing to not get bored on a 12-hour flight. But what's so bad about being bored, right? Just think about what's so bad about being bored. It doesn't make sense. So I can train my brain into enjoying working. Because imagine I have to film these videos. What is my alternative? I can be bored. And yes, it's a bit beneficial at the start, but my mind hates it. So I would enjoy doing this more, because doing anything is better than doing nothing. Of course, some things are better than others. But if you compare everything to the baseline of being bored, anything, literally anything, is better than being bored, to your brain at least. So I desaturate my brain in a sense. I go to the lowest baseline I can find by doing nothing, and anything above that, it could be working, it could be editing, it could be making scripts, thumbnails, doing even homework. anything than being bored is better than actually being bored. So, right after this video, or when you have the time, as soon as possible, try this. Put a timer for 1 hour, make sure nobody bothers you, and just sit. Do nothing. Think. Don't even bother to check the time, because I usually make this mistake and I feel like I've been there for 2 hours and I look and it's been 15 minutes and I have 45 minutes to go. So don't check the time, it will just make you overthink. Just patiently wait for the signal. And trust me, the signal will come. It's not like the clock up will stop working. I've even had those thoughts because I was thinking, bro, if you want to, you can join my private community, my free community, for now at least, by clicking the first thing in the description, bro. See you later.